And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, Marv, you can win Marv. Mobile Authority Resistance Vehicle is up for raffle. Pete Eyre's on to tell us all about it because Marv has got a lot of history, and it's got a lot of signatures too. I mean, you go all over that thing, man. There's any and everybody signed that thing. You know, that's one thing. Let's go to Pete Eyre in New Hampshire. Are you in Keene right now?
Yep, I am in Keene right now.
Okay, now go ahead and tell me every little old thing. Now, Marv you've already started the raffle, haven't you?
Yeah, I kicked it off last week, but I had some informations at peteeyre.com/Marv, and essentially just try to get Marv into someone's good hands to put it to future use and focus my resources on some other areas.
Okay, Pete Eyre, Eyre. Okay, don't assume everybody knows how to spell your name, man.
Yeah,
all right, Pete Eyre, PeteEyre.com/Marv, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you go there, and we're going to go there.
An evolution, and I just want to be part of that. I want to feel like my time is instead of being out on the road maybe all the time and being stretched sort of thin, just documenting stuff. I want to create and provide for myself as well as like inspire others to just live it as well, because I figure instead of just talking about it, if we can live it and do it, that's a lot more effective both for ourselves and as a demonstration to others. It's not just theory. Like, this stuff works. People, if we can communicate openly and engage in consensual interactions and each pursue our own interests and respect each other to do that, then
Pete's the guy to ask. This is what we'll do in the next part of the show. We'll keep giving out the website. It's Pete Eyre, EYRE.com/Marv, MARV, for Mobile Authority Resistance Vehicle. Now, this is interesting. Who else has a better perspective on what's happened around the country from the kinds of people that you come in contact with, people that are active, people that are doing stuff, people that get it, people that just want to be left alone? Because sooner or later, all this activism, has to lead up to something. And it leads up to, can I be left alone over here on a beach somewhere and some funny, language-speaking people on the coast of? Or can we find it here? Can we gulch it somewhere? What's going on in New Hampshire? It's all in fun, but I'm telling you, these are things that I can see happening. I've been doing this for a long time, since the late 80s, and you see, the cycles, the revolution. That's why they call it revolution. It goes round and round, just keeps coming around. And I tell you what the next phase is. The next phase is an entire... That's what I knew would happen in '08. Ernie, if you do this, you're going to give the delusion to these people, these young people coming up, that voting's going to set them free. You're going to make them think that they can vote themselves free. You're not doing this. I go, no, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to get right in the middle of this, just like I did, and figure out how effed up it is. You are not going to fix this by voting. It's by living, and it's starting to happen.
Right.
And I can see this happening. Now, Pete, you've been around the country, and I want you to know, is it happening some places? Are you starting to embrace that? Are you going to lead by example and screw this thing? I mean, or are you still thinking that you need to get arrested? I mean, at what point are you going to start settling down, man?
Well, I mean, I never want to get arrested. It's never my intention to get arrested. But like your question asked, I mean, there are a lot of good things happening around the States and elsewhere around the world. And, there are also a lot of negative things that we can focus on and point out. But I feel like if you and I and everybody else who believes in individual liberty and personal responsibility does that, then we're not allocating our time to creating and building and connecting and like you said, just living it. So it's opportunity cost. And I think the trend that I'm seeing is that a lot of the people that I respect most and that I know I can learn from the most are implementing more ability to be, I guess, more self-sufficient or form their communities where people, again, focus on their comparative advantages and are able to provide goods and services through consensual interactions and totally just ignore the top-down regulatory state, the centralized command and authority system, going everything from food production to healthcare to money, what's viewed as money and the money supply, all sorts of things. So that's essentially the trend I want to go. I just want to associate with good people and people that treat each other right. And, the folks that claim to be authorities are not those people. They, by their very nature, subsist on stolen money, and that's not something that's good. And if people don't agree with that, or they think, oh, there's some functions government can do better, I would question, well, how can, the same institution that suffers from the same perverse incentives that you rightly admit fail in certain areas, it might be war or, education or healthcare, whatever some people point to, but how could they ever do anything right? How could one person or group of people, no matter how smart they are, better provide a good a service than can people who engage in consensual interactions?
Well, there's other people that think like you do, like this way, and I'm just wondering how that's going to manifest itself. I mean, this is my question. Yeah. If you're going to be doing this, and I'm all for it, man. I'm hip. There's a lot of people who've been interested in land, and everybody wants to let's all go do the hippie commune over here, and let's go over there, and we'll have property that abuts, and we'll get in the benefit of critical mass of blah 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 blah. And I want to see, from your perspective in the Shire there and so on, is it starting to coalesce as just, somebody happens to be able to afford some land and everybody come pitch their tent? Or is it everybody will buy, a chunk of land together and start carving it up? Is there a critical mass on what they think they can do in the self-sustaining farming? Are they looking at, is food one of the main concerns? Or are they just worried about having a nice place to live and they'll go out and get a job in the real world, their world or whatever? And we'll just make sure we pay our taxes. I mean, tell me how you're starting to see this coalesce. What's the first manifestation of this kind of community you're talking about? Is it more spread out in a small town, or is it starting to come together on a farm? I mean, what are you looking at?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say it's a little bit of everything, and that's what I'm most excites me about this. This being part of this is because it doesn't rely on one central tactic, and that's the difference between what exists today, the centralized claimed authority that implements these top-down solutions and then exacerbates problems caused by that and compounds them by trying to deal with the unintended consequences of it. So instead, we're seeing just a diversity of tactics. We have the Austin crew that I mentioned, John Bush and crew down there, are getting reinforced soon by some of the best activists in Kansas City are moving out there now, and they have some of those folks have bought land and are farming and are working together as a community. There's some other folks down in the Austin area and in Kansas that are doing open source ecology stuff. That's, to me, very it provides a lot of reason to be optimistic because it's decentralized open source and also, it's providing a need that everybody has, the need of providing yourself with nourishment. So those are the kind of things I get excited about. Here in New Hampshire, there's a lot of communities. I mean, in terms of sheer numbers, I don't think you can go anywhere else in the States and be around as many like-minded people. So that alone is a huge boon. I'm in Keene, and I think I've been passing through Keene for a number of years now, and my first time to the Shire was in '05, and just seeing the size and scope and diversity of what's going on, it really excites me. So, I mean, here in Keene, we have a place where a lot of liberty-oriented people might hang out and collaborate, brainstorm, implement activism, but even more than activism, just essentially living it and engaging in agorism, I think is the way to go. I think now, because if we can create the competing institutions, if we can provide the goods and services that we desire, then we don't have to necessarily sell everybody else on the ideas of liberty. They just have to say.
One thing you can answer for me, I did an interview. Blah, blah, blah. Bottom line, they're asking about the future of and this and that. And I said, I can see where the future is really all the next generation really desires. Instead of before they got to have the BMW and the shiny shoes and the skinny tie, I'm going, it's getting to the point that really all they really need is 24/7 connection with their friends on their smartphone. Once they got that covered, then it's all like, okay, well, then maybe I'll have some food and a place to sleep. And it just seems like the materialism is starting to shed away. Do you witness that? Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think so. I think just like, those who claim a monopoly on command and control of the economy, it's an artificial monopoly. They distort. There's massive market distortions, and all these market corrections we're seeing are ways the market's trying to get back to where it should be, and that's exactly what we're seeing in people's lives. They're getting this stated.
That will be right. We're starting to lose connection again. Hold on, make sure it's all right. We'll get all good with Pete Eyre. Motor Home Diaries and Liberty on Tour Marv is up for raffle. Pete Eyre, EYRE.com /
Freedom is the answer. What's the question?
I want to break free.
You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies.
Yeah, free from your lies, your fibbitizing. Here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, IA from the BEAU. Beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Oh, yeah, go check Freedoms Phoenix.com. This last, we had a gentleman, what was it? Was Eric Voorhees that did the article on Bitcoin? Yeah, he did. He did this. Well, I said, tell me freaking everything. Well, what's the limit and how are we going to go? If there's something you left out, then it's not long enough. Okay, so he did. I mean, damn, it's like page after page after page. If I understand freaking everything about Bitcoin, thank you. So this is
a great article.
The information that's coming out about Bitcoin is I can see why the bad guys are so concerned. I mean, because there is no limit to how many they can just print or just add electronic or whatever. At least this, even though it gives you all the things that you want with cash. Anonymity, there's no limit. Heck, I got my little Bitcoin right here. Okay, there's my little holographic Bitcoin, and I didn't know that I could charge this up with as many. I could buy a car with this one coin right here. I did not know you could do that. And these guys, not that you'd want to, but I'm like, wow, I can see where this is going. The thing is, though, is that, there's more details we need to understand about how much faith you're going to put into something online in ones and zeros. But, I mean, that's what you're doing with the Federal Reserve anyway. And these guys, at least, that has a limit, to how many can be made. So that's interesting. And there's other ways of us trading, too. The dime cards have been very popular. I mean, so popular we had to stop. We're just like, whoa, freaking whoa. That's one of the reasons why I took time off last week. I met with the printers Wednesday, and we knew die machines to die and cut out, make it faster, more. We have 4 stations now. We're going to be getting more laminators. I can just give a whole kit, say, here's the cards, here's the laminates, here's the dimes, here's the laminator, and here's 2,000. Carl, let me know when you're done, and you get so much per card, and we got this business. All right? Now, the thing is that we have the the cards themselves have the dime in it, and that's one of the things that we found out. We were talking about doing our own minting. We're like, man, we need to do like 10th ounce, the kind of Silver Circle rounds or something like that. Now, with Silver Circle movie coming out, it's good that they have the 10th ounce rounds. That is, that's a good size. Now, we were at Pork Fest, the dime cards are going for like $3.50, and they were going for $4. Okay, so I'm going, all right. The free market just kind of dealt with it. But the point is this. If we go to the, stamping, we got, who you going to trust is the purity of the silver. Hey, because Ernie said, whatever value that has. But, if we go ahead and do that and it's some, like AOCS or somebody, we'll say, okay, they certify it's 99999 silver. When they do that and they stamp it, just that process of making, the dies and stamping the image and so on, all of a sudden you're up to $1 gazillion. And the premium on the silver just gets to the point that it's not really feasible, but especially when you can get it at or below spot on 90% silver done by the U.S. government. And I said, thank you for playing. And it's just pissing them off even more. We're using their own coins against them. So that's one of the advantages. But we would like to be able, in fact, in one of the cards that we're designing for Daily Paul, it's P, Peace, A-U, Gold, L, Liberty, and Love. So they have 4-card series they want to do. The first one, Peace, the first designs I saw from Michael Nystrom is it had, like a Gandhi quote in there and so on, doing the peace thing. So, cool. But when we get to the gold, we have bar grams that come from Credit Suisse or Bank of whatever, Switzerland. And they have Fortuna, which is a goddess of fortune or something, has an image on one side, and it has a serial number printed on the back that goes with a certified card that it comes in a bubble wrap that we're taking it out, putting it in a card, and then we'll include that with it. So it's kind of like, all right, fine, gram of gold now is going $50, $60. As a premium, you're paying like $2,000 an ounce to get down to that small amount. So these are going to be expensive cards. Now, you want a full set from Daily Paul, it's going to be like, 4 cards, be like $100 or something. So we're working on that, too. So we need to be able to make half gram. So we're having a place that will stamp that. They want to charge, and it's going to be $1 gazillion. How much you can be willing to pay an ounce of gold just to get it and say you did. So now we're going into, silver, and people are starting to do their own. Pete, show that, what you're talking about. Tell us about this 10th ounce thing that's going on.
Yeah, just like you mentioned with Silver Circle, they did the 10th ounce rounds. One of the new movers, the key, and this is, again, just an example of the entrepreneurship that's up here in the Shire. He's making these. There's more rectangular one here I'm pointing to was the first design, and this is the second design right now. But he has his own die made. You can see his emblem on the front, a sun, which will help prevent and hopefully deter any sort of fraudulent making of it, but it says on the back it's stamped with 0.1 OZ and 0.999 fine or whatever silver. So these are bear his mark. It's his reputation on the line, and they're starting to be accepted. Actually, at a couple merchants here in town have started taking them, as have obviously myself and a lot of others in our community. So it's hard currency, and it has intrinsic value. So. And like John Bush mentioned at a speech he did in the Fed rally in Dallas last year, he said, hey, if you really want to quit giving these folks authority, then quit using their currency. And I think that's very powerful. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with out there.
We're really happy with the dime thing because of the education. I mean, there's so many things. We have the silver calculator that we can add. In fact, we already have on the silver calculator on your Droid or iPhone. You can get the app, and it has 10th ounces on there because we did the 10th ounce silver circles. So you can, calculate whatever you want. I mean, that's what we were really waiting on was the calculator. When the silver calculator hit, it was like, oh, yeah, baby, here we go. And it will do anything. We got, Ross got designs. I've seen the designs for 4 cards that came from France. And their business cards are a little bit wider. They're a little thicker. Their wallets or billfolds are different, than U.S. And they wanted us to make sure the calculator went into euros so that you could take all of the currencies of these old silver francs and marks and all the kind of stuff that they've had in Europe too. It looks like they kind of got away from silver probably a few decades before the U.S. did, but they still have these coins too. And they're doing exactly the same thing with different stuff. We met a guy, and we're having him on. in France, they got a Lovolution going on there too, except their candidate for 2012 is Basquiat 2012. And they're doing this whole Basquiat thing, and they got and these are the same guys that are doing the dime card deal. So they jumped all over this thing, and it's you're right. It's dealing, and so there's going to be all kinds of variety of different things, and something will hash out. I mean, it'll be somebody will be the one guy. I mean, I know AOCS wanted to be it, but they, the premiums on this stuff is, it's not going to work that way, and it's better to have. I bought a big giant bar oven that's a silver circle. I printed my own. I got it. Here it is, and it may very well be silver circles. I mean, you got Ron Paul holding up an ounce of silver circle to Bernanke, nan. Well, Megan just jumped all over that. She was happy as heck. So this is where the future is going. I mean, but I want to know, you get Marv and you get a little bit of money out of this thing, and you get paid off and whatever, and you got a little change, and you go, I'm going to go what? I mean, are you looking to buy a piece of land? Are you tired of bunking around, or are you just looking for a white picket? Or you got a female in mind? What?
Well, I'm probably going to
female. Yeah, I snuck that one in there. Tell me about your love life. Come on. Got a woman? Yes. No. You gonna bust a bubble for everybody? No. Yes. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Things going on. There's always things going on in that sphere. I mean, I tend to have focused on my what I'd say is my just spreading these ideas, and that to me has been my priority. But we'll see what happens in that other vein. There's ladies that I talk to, or girls that I've, whatever. I mean, we'll see what happens. But like you said, I mean, going back to this, you touched on Bitcoin. I do want to emphasize, Eric's article is awesome. He has a great quote I shared the other day. He said, "You can assume no government wants to adopt this system in any capacity, and for that reason alone, it's worthy of consideration." So I thought that was a very strong point.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and repeat that when we come back, because we have bad connection there. We're losing a little bit. When we come back with Pete Eyre, we're going to find out, he has a plan. Hey, he's making the move towards that plan. We just need to know what it is. Well, we're going to find out. Pete Eyre, EYRE.com/Marv. Go get your tickets. I just did, because we can. This is, I wish we had more time. We'll check back soon. Can we get you back next week? Can we do that, Pete? Next week? Come on, say yes.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Yes, because we'll get an update on Marv Raffle. There's so much more to talk about.
All right, well, we're going to keep it going, man. You know what? I'm gonna do some shit. Like, I like to do this at every show, get the vocals warmed up or whatever. We're going to do some shit a cappella on that ass real quick. No music. The music gets in the way of the lyrics. And the lyrics are the truth. It's the poetry behind everything. So do something real quick. We're going to do something a cappella for you. My mind's mental perception now been activated. Stimulated by the music that I fabricated. Innovative while the industry is saturated. Entertainment looking like inner enslavement. For lack of better words in an ego-infested language. Make it difficult to pick the words to start a page with. I'm in the moment so my energy forms to create some type of poem, feel my energy force. Part of me feels like I've been here before, recording the same song in different ways in every life that I'm born. My mind development influence, rhyming relevance. I can't talk about pimping women and getting hella rich. Therefore I'm in my own mental prison where depression is the fuel for the brain's central system. Only for selective few who attempt to visit. Everything happens for reasons, you were meant to listen. Yes, we're all connected. Follow your intuition. Your brain's database caught a virus from television. Subliminal messages, subconscious prison. You can manifest destiny by focusing your energy or move objects telekinetically. Since life is God's gift, I embrace it mentally. Organized religion been killing children for centuries. Freedom of speech tell the death of me. This was meant for me. These carbon copy rappers can't stand next to me. Meanwhile, my generation is influenced by games, while world domination is perfected in place. Inhaling chemical trails in every breath that I take. Learning more in every step that I make. Every day that I wake, my life consists of correcting mistakes. Even enlightened men could regret what they say. How will you interpret my words is the question I face. Fuck around and write a rhyme, make me question my faith. Forget what you heard, we in heaven right now. Hard to tell, all this ignorance is turning it to hell. I roll up and smoke up and hope that they fail. But if no one's gonna show up, then no one prevails. So I put my life at stake when I enter this realm. My words have no meaning if the whole world sleeps. So I'm rhyming while I'm dreaming so the whole world sees. Cause I keep having visions of the whole world free. But the world seems to have a different definition of world peace. We need to listen to our heartbeats. Internal metronomes connect us to our God's genes. The deeper I go, the realer I get. Real I spit, more I could care less if you feeling my shit. Went from rapping about nothing and basically sleepwalking to inspire, inquire minds to think often. My pen will have your world trying to scrub the ink off it. Rappers stink profit, poisoned by fluoride and sink faucet. Fuck it, I'm done.